I mean, I want to sell Mercedes. I want to sell Hondas.
Cattle Call Podcast. Got a great new guest down here in Oxford, Mississippi with Anne-Marie Wyatt.
Yes.
Of Taylor Square Photography.
That's it.
Anne-Marie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
This is a great little space you guys have.
I love my space.
Now, how long have you been here in this building?
I moved into the building about a year and a half ago, actually 2 years ago, and I took this space over a little over a year ago and renovated it and kind of made it what I wanted it to be. It was gray walls and black floors, and so yeah.
Yeah, not what it is now.
No.
It is all white.
We've whited it out.
So you guys designed this yourselves?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long has the business Taylor Square Photography been around?
I've been in business since 2012. I started doing photography in 2008 with a friend of mine in Memphis. And then I started doing Taylor Square in 2012. I went out on my own and started the business.
Okay. And how'd you get the name Taylor Square Photography?
Okay, so I live in Taylor.
Where is that?
It's a little bit south of Oxford. It's like 10 minutes south of Oxford and just a little town on the outskirts. And so I wanted it to be more of a vibe about where I was from and what I was doing versus like who I am. I didn't want my name affiliated with it whatsoever because I wanted to be able to expand into a company and not just be me.
Be you.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I swear the whole time, because I guess this has been booked for a little while now. I keep telling myself I'm gonna say the wrong name. I'm gonna call her Taylor.
Everybody calls me Taylor.
Really?
Everybody calls me Taylor. But that's okay. I mean, I loved explaining it. And honestly, like when I started my business, I had to start it kind of on the fly and really quickly. And so I just had to like come up with a name really quick. So that's what I came up with.
Was Taylor Square Photography.
That's it.
Okay, so how long you been doing photography as a whole?
Oh my gosh. I was the kid at the parties with the camera back in the day that everybody hated.
Really?
They were like, put the camera up, like, do not record this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, stop taking pictures of me. And now they call me asking for them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you've been practicing a long time.
A long time.
Really? Okay, and have you always been around this area?
I'm actually from Tupelo, which is an hour from here. My husband and I are both from Tupelo. Grew up in a little bitty town called Guntown, Mississippi. Guntown, Mississippi. Yep.
Right on.
One stop sign, and that's it. Just a little town. There was one other girl my age growing up from Guntown, so it was very small.
Wow.
My dad had a farm, and he was in the Army, and we grew up on some land that my grandparents owned years and years ago and did cropping on, so it's cool. I love being from Guntown, I guess because it was small, and it taught me a lot about being in a small town and not really having anybody to depend on growing up. Like I had to make friends, I had to get out, I had to do things and see people to be able to have relationships. So it was kind of cool.
Man, and do you still have family in that area now?
Yes. My brother and my mom and dad still live there.
Really? How often do you go back?
Quite often, actually. My parents are getting older, so I try to check in with them a good bit. So maybe like, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, I go back.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were raised in Guntown.
Yes.
And then how far is that from Tupelo?
15 minutes, not far at all.
So you can
it's
kinda
north
say
of Tupelo, yeah.
Okay, and then how'd you meet your husband?
I actually met him when I was at Northeast Community College. I went there for 2 years before I came to Ole Miss, and he and I met through mutual friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then you went to Ole Miss.
I did.
And what'd you study at Ole Miss?
Journalism.
Right on.
Magazine journalism.
Really?
Yeah, I loved it.
And did you do anything with it afterwards or what?
No, because when I graduated in 2003, the invention of the iPad, oh my gosh, I'm dating myself, but the invention of the iPad was like killing journalism, and everybody was wigging out about it, and they thought that print was going to be dead, and so a lot of the magazines were not hiring and actually laying people off en masse. And so I never thought I would be able to get a job anywhere doing anything of any value or making any money. So I had been working for attorneys since I was 16, and I knew I could come out of school and get a paralegal job making pretty decent money. So that's what I did.
Man, you became a paralegal. And how long did you do that?
Well, I started working for a law firm when I was 16. So I worked all through high school, worked through college, worked through community college. And then when I got to Ole Miss, I waited tables, but I also worked for a law firm part-time. And so I quit that job, 3 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So I worked full-time for lawyers up until 3 years ago and managed to do this business up until that point to where I just couldn't do it anymore. I needed to pick and choose.
Yeah. Wow. So when did you decide, like, what just clicked in your mind? Be all right, I'm going to go all in on this thing.
I had always wanted to do that, but it had to be a certain point to where, I have 3 kids, I have a family, and so insurance is really important, and small business owners aren't really backed with insurance when they need it. And so I always thought I had to keep my job to keep the insurance. Mm-hmm. And I got to a point to where I'd paid all of the debt off that we had. My husband and I were in a good place, and I was like, okay, I'm ready. This is it. So I just kind of did it. And honestly, my business exploded right after that.
Wow.
And, I've never been more blessed at where I'm at right now.
And is it just solely wedding photography that you do now?
No,
or
we
what?
actually do everything.
Really?
I've always been taught that you kind of pick a niche and you go with it. Mm-hmm. And weddings are probably definitely my niche just because I've done so many of them and they're really special to me. But we do portrait photography. We do a lot of commercial work. We do some editorial work. We do a little bit of everything, which is really fun because it keeps it different and it keeps me creative.
Mm-hmm. What's been like your favorite job off the top of your head? Like which ones still stick out to you after you've done them? Like I really enjoyed working, with what a person or a client or whatever.
It's probably honestly some of the commercial work that I've done because it's so out of the box and it's so different than what I typically have to do. So it's like a lot of different lighting scenarios. It's a lot of different ways of shooting. It's not my typical go-to way of shooting. And so I have to really concentrate and think about what I'm doing and like really get super creative. And so I think some of the commercial ones are my faves.
Okay. So what kind of commercial stuff do you do? Do you have a niche in that at all or no?
Maybe, I kind of would love to have a niche in it. It's something that I would love to expand into in the future. That's kind of where I would like to take the business, is to have a sister company that kind of does commercial only and maybe offer, marketing services and Instagram and social media services for clients like that.
Okay.
2 weeks ago, we did a shoot at Sight Armored, which is an armored vehicle company. They manufacture armored vehicles that, deliver money to the banks.
Wow.
And so we got to go into their facility and shoot their employees, welding and building vans. It was really cool.
So they hired a photography business for that.
Yeah, they're redoing all of their marketing, their website and their branding. And so they wanted their website to look really cool. And so we got to play with the big trucks and take cool pictures. And I had to get really creative. I mean, when you're taking pictures of armored vehicles, it's not really sexy, but
yeah.
but at the same time, it was super fun. And they turned out really cool. So
yeah, that's surprising that someone like that would want to revamp.
Yeah.
But usually those are the websites you go to and you're
Right.
like, oh, dude.
Yeah. And they're like one of the industry leaders in manufacturing these vehicles. I think they work for like the top 3 armored vehicle companies in the nation. So, I mean, they're big time. So it's really cool. It was really cool to work with them.
Man, what other projects stick out to you?
Oh
Anything from earlier?
Let's see. Trying to think of some fun stuff that I've done. Oh my gosh, I should have researched this.
But you do enjoy commercial more than weddings?
I love it.
Really?
They're very different. The weddings are amazing and they'll always have my heart, no lie. But the commercial stuff's fun because you just never know what you're walking into, and you kind of have to be really quick on the fly. We've done a lot of work for Scout Guide out of Memphis. And so
Scout Guide? Okay,
it's
now
a
what is
magazine. It's kind of an advertorial magazine that's produced in Memphis. And so you have to walk into a business and kind of help them style their ad.
Okay.
You're shooting an ad for them. And so that's really fun because you have to be creative and styling and, lighting and design. And that's fun. Trying to think of some other things that I've done that's kind of out of the box. Done a lot of food photography, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Food photography?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's fun.
Okay. Now, why do you like food photography so much?
Yet again, it's like really different than anything else that you do. It's even kind of different than the commercial stuff. I mean, you're having to like really intensely light things and make sure the light's directional and make sure you got good contrast and shadows and make sure the food looks, edible. You don't want to photograph something and looking
That's true.
not good.
Do you ever have to doctor any of the food?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, usually there's a food stylist that'll come in and they'll like put crazy things on the food and sugar and, sugar water to make it glisten. And there's a whole line of work for that kind of person. Like really, that's a job.
Wow.
I haven't really worked with a food stylist yet, but I would love to. I think that would be so fun just to see how they work.
Right. I've seen like those little videos on whatever Facebook or Instagram, and they'll talk about this way they do these drive-through menus or something.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been like with beer. And they put like shaving cream or something on the top to give it the foam.
It's crazy.
And you're like, it's a bunch of just weird stuff.
But there's a science to it, and there's actually it's an industry. I mean, it's a really big industry. People make good money doing that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool.
Man. Okay, so you said you have 3 kids?
I do.
Okay. How old are they?
My oldest, John Brady, he's 15.
John Brady?
Okay. My middle daughter, McCarley, is 12, and then my baby girl, Mary Harper's 9.
9.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Got my hands full.
Yeah, you sure do, man.
I do.
And then I guess you guys all live in Taylor. You said Taylor's the name of the town? Gotcha. And now what do your kids do? Are they interested in anything?
My son is really cool. He's kind of getting into jazz. He likes jazz music. I'll
Like playing jazz or listening?
Listening. I'll go in his
wow.
room and he's like listening to jazz. So I think that's super cool. He's a unique kid. Doesn't like to do a lot of sports, which is okay because I was never a sporty girl either. He's really thoughtful, really intellectual. I'm excited to see where he goes. My middle
Jazz
daughter,
at 15.
yeah,
He's probably pretty smart.
yeah,
So.
yeah, he is. My middle daughter is super creative. She's kind of feisty and kind of bossy, but she's a go-getter. Like one day she's just going to rule the world. I know, like she's going to be something. And then my youngest daughter, Mary Harper, is more of the studious one. She really likes school. She really likes doing well in school. She's so sweet, and she's just like the funniest kid. She's
Really?
so hilarious. Yes.
What's something she said recently that made you laugh?
Oh my God.
Or something she did?
She got bored in class the other day, and I don't know if she was supposed to be doing this or not, but she apparently Googled photography because she just wanted to look at some. And so my business, because it's like set to local or whatever, came up on Google. It was the first one.
Oh, wow.
And she was just fascinated that I was on Google, number one, and that I came up. And then she started looking at all the reviews, and she said, "Mama, people really like you." And I was like, I would
sweet.
hope so. She was like, "Look, they said you were fantastic, Mama. Look." So I thought that was so sweet that she was perusing through my Google review.
Yeah, good for her, man.
Yeah.
You find your new marketing people right there.
That's right.
She's
That's right.
She's 9?
She's 9.
Wow. Do you think any of them are going to follow in your photography footsteps at all? Or are they kind of... That's Mom's thing.
All 3 of them have kind of dabbled in it, and they've all 3 at different points in time asked for cameras or asked how to do things. I think, my son he's pretty into it. He's interested. But also he's 15 and into video games. So I think there'll come a time where he probably picks it up. My middle daughter, I don't know. I see her more in like event planning or design or fashion or something like that. Something creative, most definitely. I don't know if she wants to do photography. And then my youngest, Mary Harper, she actually might want to do it too. I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a toss-up.
Yeah. And okay, so what does your husband do?
He's a landscaper. He owns his own business, and so we both work 24 hours a day.
Wow.
Yeah. 2
small business owners.
Yes.
Man, do you think you're living the American dream?
I kind of feel like I am at times. I do. To look back and just see like the growth that I've had over the last 5 years is just mind-blowing. I mean, really it is. It's something that I definitely don't take for granted. I have recently been working a lot. With COVID, we've had to reschedule like 15 weddings into the latter part of the year.
Man.
So we've shot, we will have shot by the end of the year 27 weddings in 6 months, which is not typical. We usually do about 35 a year. So we've basically done a year's worth of weddings in 6 months. So right now is not a good time to ask me how I feel about being busy. But it's been a good busy. I mean, we've been able to keep our head above water, and we've had so much fun. And these brides, they've gone through so much with the rescheduling and just the slashing of the guest list. And it's just so much that they've had to deal with. So we just want to be there for them and do the best job we can because they deserve the best day ever, no matter what.
So how did you kind of come into the whole, because I met Mackenzie at a wedding I was in, and so I
Yeah.
got connected to you.
Yeah.
So how did you get into like wedding photography?
So when I graduated college, I really liked photography, and it was something that I wanted to do, but it was just something that I dabbled in. And when I had my first son, I really got into it and wanted to take pictures of my kids, as most people do. And I started working with an old friend of mine from Memphis that was a college buddy, and she was doing wedding photography. And
Okay.
so we started doing it together. And she kind of taught me a lot. She actually taught me a lot. And then I kind of helped her with the business side of it because I had been working for law offices for so long that I knew a lot about, taxes and,
Oh, man.
you know,
Good old
paperwork.
taxes,
And,
yeah.
I mean, everybody that comes in here to work for me, they think they're going to just take pretty pictures and do, fun stuff all day. But really 70% of what we do is business related.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And so if you don't know how to run a business, it's really hard to be a successful photographer unless you're just doing it, for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, so I guess what makes it so business oriented?
I would say I spend 60% of my day answering emails, answering text messages, Instagram messages, Facebook messages. We try to funnel everything through our email because it's just so many avenues of communication. But we, contracts, consultations, phone consultations. I mean, you name it. It's a lot of business and a lot of marketing and a lot of social media. Mm-hmm. Enough to where I've had to hire somebody to help with the social media because it's just too much to keep up with.
That's a good sign, though.
It's a really good sign. It's a really good sign. And I think that we'll continue to grow as long as I can find some really good employees. I got Mackenzie. She's like gold to me. I mean,
Really?
she's amazing. Yeah. If it wasn't for her, I would be neck deep. If it wasn't for her, I would be, neck deep in editing and probably crying over there in the corner
Really?
because we've just got so much to do. But it's a good problem to have. I'm definitely not complaining.
Man, so did COVID affect y'all pretty badly? Did it more so
It
just
kind
affect the
of
industry?
did. It really impacted my friends in the catering industry because they had to cut, so many guest lists. So that, their bills were cut in half. The money that they made was lowered. With us, it really didn't affect much other than the fact that we just had to shift everything and move everything, and we're just having to work double time to get it all finished. But like I said, it's a good problem to have. We didn't lose any money. We had a few cancellations, which is okay and understandable. But other than that, it's been actually, I had our best month last month that we've
No
ever
kidding.
had. So I can't really say that COVID just
Yeah.
hurt us because it didn't. We may feel after effects later on, but people are still getting married. People want to have fun. People are ready to get out of the house.
Yeah.
We've been doing weddings, smaller-ish weddings, but here recently it's picked back up to normal. And I mean, at most of these
wow.
weddings, people are just being normal. It's just, there's no COVID.
That's so nice.
Yeah,
That is so nice to hear.
it is nice. It is nice.
Man.
I'm ready for this to be over.
Yeah. Man, no kidding. And even stuff too, like, we just drove down from Memphis.
Yeah.
And then you got to think, well, what are their mandates like down there going to be? And
Yeah.
the first place we stopped was at a gas station right here to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And walk in. The woman tells us to go grab a mask. And
Yeah.
I didn't see a sign anywhere. You figure it's a small town. They won't really
Right.
care.
Right. No.
Mandates are different everywhere you go.
They are. And most of our weddings, they're having to wear a mask like at the ceremony and in the churches. But once they get to the reception venues, most of them, especially the ones that we do in Memphis, are large enough to where the square footage is enough to people to spread out. And so
Okay.
they're not wearing a mask.
So you do a lot of business in Memphis then?
I do. Probably 70%, 70% of my business is in Memphis.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
And what other like areas around the South do you guys do stuff?
Oh gosh, we go anywhere and everywhere. We've done weddings in Seaside. We've done weddings, a lot of weddings in the Delta. We love doing
Oh,
Delta
wow.
weddings because they love to party.
Really? I've
we
never been down there.
Yeah, it's so much fun. We've done some in Natchez. We've done some in Jackson, Nashville. And that's really it. We're supposed to be going to Greece next year, which is going to be a lot of
To
fun.
Greece, the country Greece.
Yes, if
Wow.
COVID allows us to.
Yeah, that's not South at all, man. Okay, why are y'all going to Greece?
One of our employees is getting married there.
Wow.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
if COVID allows.
Well, that'd be wild.
Yeah, so we're taking the first 2 weeks off in June, and we're going to go just have some fun because I think we'll need it after this wedding season is
yeah.
over with. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Treat yourselves, man.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
So what's something you guys try to do maybe just like a conscious effort on a wedding day where you're around the party. And the weddings I've been in, it seems like the photographers are more so around the whole bride and the bridesmaids when they're stressed. Like, I mean, what stuff do you do to try to just ease that stress?
You know, in my opinion, that's one of the happiest days of your life. It's supposed to be. And so if you're not having fun after you've spent all this money planning and all this time and stress, like, it's my job to kind of rally the troops. I mean, you need to have a good time. So we try to have fun. We try to make it really chill. We have a tentative timeline, but we don't ever, get really bent on 15-minute increments or whatever. I mean, we have fun, get what we need in the time that we have, and make sure that every shot's covered. And in the meantime, that everybody's having fun, which is really important.
Man, that is.
Yeah.
And, okay, what's something that, let's say I'm going to hire a wedding photographer.
Yeah.
What is something that people do that just makes your job harder, that you just wish clients wouldn't do? And maybe they're just doing it because they don't know. Something I could do and I can avoid.
So many. Really, there's so many. I'm trying to think of what would be a good one. Thinking that a 3 months notice is enough time. Like, we usually book out a year in advance.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And those kind of trends have shifted. It's not necessarily a year anymore. It used to be a year across the board. Now it's more like 8 months. 5 months, you're pushing it. And that goes with every vendor, I feel like. Maybe not rentals so much because they can do 2 a weekend. But for somebody like me, a year in advance at least. And I feel like some people just kind of think we sit around all day and don't do a whole lot.
Really?
I don't know. I don't really understand that misconception, but we work. We come in every day and we work all day. And, I could stay here all night and work and not be caught up to where I needed to be. So it's busy.
Man, how long do you try to take to get like photos for a whole wedding back to a person?
So for a typical wedding, we usually shoot around 5,000 images.
5,000 images.
5,000. That's usually the golden number. From there, we'll cull it down to like 12 or 1,300, and then from there, I'll start editing. And usually, about 100 of those are tossers. And it honestly depends on the size of the wedding and the family photos, and that kind of thing comes into play. The reception size.
Oh, true.
But typically, for a normal wedding, I usually have about 1,000 images that I'm delivering.
Man.
Yeah.
And how long does it take to sit there and sort through and edit?
Oh my gosh. So from start to finish, from any wedding client that I have, I did the math on this one time. It's about 100 hours that I have tied up in a wedding. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
It's a lot.
I used to have a roommate who was a photographer.
Yeah.
And I helped him shoot a couple weddings.
Yeah.
Or like maybe I was wedding I was in, or a buddy to get married.
Yeah.
And the people, because you'd be friends with them, they would hound him about getting the stuff back.
Please, yeah.
And he gave them like sometimes the 3 months. Like, it's going to take me at least 3 months. I got other stuff I'm working on too. I'll get it back to you within 3 months. And it's stuff where, they just come back from the honeymoon. They want to start posting pictures.
That's
so
right.
it's like,
That's right.
Will you give us some stuff so we can start posting?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I haven't even scratched the surface of all your stuff. That seems pretty demanding.
When we shoot, like we'll come in on Monday and we've had a wedding that previous weekend. When we shoot, we'll come in, download the cards, and that'll take, half a day. So when we get the cards downloaded, once we do that, we have to import them into what we use is called Lightroom. It'll take, another 2 hours to import the wedding into Lightroom. And then once they're imported, we can start culling and going through them, and they have to load in. The previews have to load in. And so it's a really slow, arduous process. But from there, we'll start editing. And we usually tell our brides 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Our goal is 4 weeks. If I'm not getting them turned around in 4 weeks, then I'm pretty behind, especially if I'm shooting every weekend. But yeah, 4 to 6 weeks. We try to do a preview within 2 weeks because we know people are excited and we know people want to see. And we want to produce something while the hype is still up too. You're coming off the wedding and after a week goes by or 2 weeks go by, it's not as exciting anymore. But it's just almost virtually impossible to have something up faster than that just because of the amount that we do. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of weddings. But with Mackenzie helping me, we've actually been able to keep ahead of the editing and really be able to produce some stuff pretty quickly. So it's been nice because
Yeah.
usually if it's me by myself, it takes a lot longer to
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Do you hire out for like other photographers when you guys do a wedding, or is it just all in-house here?
So we try to keep it in-house. There has been times where I've had to like try to help, find a second shooter because somebody's not able to do it.
Okay.
And we do try to have a pool of second shooters on hand that we can call on in case of an emergency. But for the most part, we try to keep it in-house. It's just easier for me to have somebody come work for me that I have trained or that I know knows what's going on because, everybody is a photographer. Everybody is a photographer.
Are you saying they think they are, or they actually
Yes.
can be?
Yes, no.
Everyone thinks they
I'm
are.
being extremely sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Everyone. I think the Instagram stuff doesn't help. When you said food photographer, I thought, well, everyone is a food photographer, man. You can't watch people's stories.
It's so funny because I've put out ads before with people trying to find employees, and the stuff that people send, that their portfolio, and it's like 2 pictures and they're out of focus, or and it's just
It's just crap,
or they don't
yeah.
have any equipment. They just want to come take pictures because they're good at taking pictures, they think. So there's a lot more that goes into this than taking pictures, especially with wedding photography, because you're changing environments so constantly. You're going from inside to outside and into a dark room and into a lit room and an ambient lit room. And you're having to like really know how to use your camera really well, really quickly. Cause you don't have time to say, hey, will you stop and let me fix my camera? There's no, hey, stop while you're walking down the aisle.
That's
got to be
true.
able to think on your feet really quick or you're in trouble. Because you've missed something really important.
Man, so are weddings more stressful than any other thing you guys have to shoot?
Absolutely.
Seems like it would be.
Yeah, there's no do-overs. There's no do-overs. If you miss it, you've missed it. Luckily, I can't really think of a single time where we just absolutely, completely dropped the ball and missed something really big. We're usually pretty good and quick on our feet. And that comes back to knowing how to use your camera. You have to know how to use your camera properly. You can't shoot on a 40th of a second handheld and get the proper image. If somebody running down the aisle, I have to throw that away. I can't use that. So,
Man, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Man. Okay, so what do you do outside of work? What do you like to, when you, sounds like you don't have a whole lot of time, but when you do.
I honestly don't. I really love spending time with my kids, spending time with my family, going home to see my parents and my brother. I really do enjoy that a lot. I love live music. We haven't had any of that lately, but we were supposed to go see Dave Matthews this year, which was going to be really fun.
Dave Matthews?
Dave Matthews.
Dave.
Yeah,
There's
Dave
that accent.
Matthews,
I was like, who's Dave Matthews?
For my 40th, we were going to go see Dave. Canceled. We were supposed to see, who else? The Revivalist? Yeah. So
Who
all
are
of that's
they? Who
been.
are the Revivalists?
You haven't heard of the
I don't know.
Revivalists?
I don't know if I have.
Oh, they're really good. Check them out.
Where are they from? Are they,
I honestly do not know where they're from. It's a really great band, though. Check it out. They're pretty big.
yeah, maybe I just haven't checked them out.
Do you like country?
Old country.
Okay.
I don't know. Everything in Nashville now is country.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know if it's like country or like Brothers Osborne even.
Right.
Something like that. So that's fine. What's your favorite shot to get for a wedding?
Oh my
What's one you like to get every single ceremony or reception or just whenever the whole wedding?
Some of the funnest shots are when the band takes a break, or if it's a band that I know they're really cool about me getting on stage, and we'll just get everybody that's at the wedding to get in front of the stage and let me get a shot from the stage back into the venue.
That's cool.
With everybody, with the bride and groom in the front. That's probably one of my favorite shots that I get. I don't get it at every wedding, but I do get it at a lot of them. And I've had some brides in the past order it and put it, in their home because it's,
cool.
everybody that attended their wedding, and it's a fun party shot.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Man, okay, so what's one thing you wish you would have known day one? Or like you tell, like when Mackenzie walks in here to work for you, what's something you tell them to start day one?
That's a good question. I think it's really important how you carry yourself and how you project your business and the kind of customer service that you give your clients. I think that's like paramount. I want to sell Mercedes. I want to sell Hondas.
Yeah.
You know, like I want to take care of my clients.
Yeah.
I want to love on my clients, and I want to do it in a way that they know I really took time to care about them and do a good job for them. And I want my product to be flawless. I want them to be 100% satisfied at all times, and I'll go to great lengths to make sure that happens. And I think that's like so important. And I think a lot of people kind of glaze over it and just, you know, it's in and out, one and done. I got paid and I'm done with that one. And that's just not really how that works.
Gotcha. I think I found my intro quote for the Mercedes and a Honda there. I like that. That's good. That's good.
Perfect.
Okay. So question for you.
Okay.
Let's say I was running for politics.
Okay.
You being a small business owner.
Yes.
And your husband, and then coming from like, you know, farmer's daughter here.
That's right.
What is something that if I were in public office that I could do to make your life easier?
Oh my gosh. You know, I think there's a huge disconnect with like the health insurance right now. It's
really?
it's awful. You know, we went from paying like, I mean, it wasn't cheap. I think we were doing like $600 a month for Blue Cross. And then when all the healthcare stuff changed, it went to like $1,800 a month for a family of 5.
Oh,
like
man.
That's insane to me. So I think that would be a huge issue that I think needs to be looked at, because right now the way it is, it's just not, it's not working for anybody really, that I know of. I don't know anybody that's on Obamacare or any of the other health plans, but I know for me and my family, we could not afford to do any kind of private insurance because it's just astronomical right now.
Man,
Yeah.
health insurance.
Yeah, that's a huge, especially for small business owners, because you know we have to pay it out of our pocket, and
Yeah.
it's something that you need, especially when you have a family and you have children. That's something that you can't skimp on. So I think that's really important.
And do y'all's employees get health care through you too? Or do they have to go?
No,
Get on their
I
own.
don't currently offer it because right now I don't even have a real quote unquote healthcare plan. I'm through
Yeah.
like a Christian shared ministry plan that we pay like very little for per month, which is awesome. But we have to meet a certain amount if something happens. And then after that, it's completely shared with everybody in the group.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty cool, but
Okay. I've heard about those, but I
Yeah.
actually haven't never run anyone
it's
who
actually
does
really
it.
nice. I haven't had to use it yet, knock on wood, but
Yeah.
so far
Okay.
so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Are there any other questions or anything you want to cover? I know you sent me a dry on. Anything else you want to leave people with?
Oh my gosh. I don't think so.
Any good advice? Any good book recommendations? Any good documentaries or movies people need to see?
You know, I do not watch TV. The only time I watch TV is like when I'm going to bed and it's like my husband's got ESPN on. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I don't even get to watch like shows because every time I start one, I can't finish it. So, and we don't have like really good internet at my home. And so we don't have Netflix
That's
or
all right.
anything fun like that. So,
Oh, that's all right. There's nothing. Well, there are some good things, but there's nothing great on there. I could give you some great documentaries to watch off the
I
air.
love documentaries, but you know, yet again, it's like the only time I would have to watch them is like Sundays, which would be good. I could watch them with my kids.
Naturalizing. Well, cool. Any good quote? Any good advice to leave with people?
I should have thought about this one a little bit better.
Hey, that's all right. No one ever does. I'm waiting for someone just to drop one sometime.
I really don't have any. Be kind. Be kind. You never know what somebody's dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if they're being mean, it's probably because they're miserable. Just be nice.
Be nice. Be
Be
kind.
nice. Be kind.
Okay, Anne-Marie, where can people follow you? Where can they keep up with
Oh
Taylor
gosh.
Square
Okay,
Photography?
so we have several social medias. Taylor Square Photography. So Instagram is Taylor Square Weddings.
Okay.
We have Taylor Square Portraits, and then we have the White Studio, which is our commercial side and our editorial side and our food
Gotcha.
photography and fun stuff side.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool. So Taylor Square, you said Taylor Square Weddings.
Yes. Taylor Square Portraits, and then the White Studio.
And the White Suit, and that's all Instagram.
Yes.
Okay, we'll have to tag you in all those so
Yeah.
people can find them.
Come find us. Come
Cool.
see us.
Anne-Marie Wyatt, thank you very much for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank
Thanks
you
for
for
having us,
having me.
take a little business trip down to Oxford.
Yeah, enjoy your night out.
Too. We will.
Go eat some really good food.
We will. Good. Any good recommendations if people are swinging through Oxford?
There's so many great restaurants in Oxford. Volta is one of our favorites for lunch, and then Oxford Canteen is another one that we love for lunch. We eat that a lot.
You said Volta
Volta,
and then Oxford Canteen. Okay.
Bouret for dinner.
About to hit that. Okay.
St. Leo. And then Grit and Taylor is really good. They're some of my good friends, and I love to do work for them. And their food's
Grit and Taylor.
phenomenal. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Good stuff.
All right, Emery, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you on the other side.